Well, hi everybody, and welcome back. You just watched me a little while ago, and I'm back again for today's episode. But look at me, I'm sitting in this nice big comfy chair. Okay, we've rearranged a little bit because remember my new set is giving us a lot of options. So I decided I was going to sit and put my little butt in this nice comfy chair. So I'm here because my guests get to sit in it. So we're going to start the show. We've got a great show lined up for you. You're going to you're also, hopefully, we have a satellite interview where you're going to meet a young person who has went out, had an idea, and collected $370,000 to work on a project. It's absolutely wonderful. And so I'm hoping we can get that interview. If we can't, I'll tell you the story. But we're going to start out right now because a lot of our organizations and the companies that we use here in our area have an appreciation day. And they want to make sure that you're invited to it. So where else is Come On Valley Happenings? And tell everybody, because then you'll all come. And again, these are free events. Free, we love that word. Well, with us right now is Joe Holmes. And Joe is the communication director. And you've got all this fancy title. But in the long run, you're the PR man.
Absolutely.
Why don't they just say that anymore? Why do these titles have to be so complicated?
I don't know.
Is that just the wave?
That's just the trend, I guess.
Yeah. So your official title?
Communications and Public Relations Coordinator.
Coordinator. Okay, and a long time ago, we just knew that as the PR man. Okay.
That's fine.
Or lady. Or lady.
Or lady.
Okay. Now, this is a fun one you get to talk about. Yay, Appreciation Day at DU.
Absolutely. You know, Susie, in 1939, the state legislature created the Municipal Utilities Board of Decatur, Alabama, Morgan County, which we know now as Decatur Utilities. And so we are 75 years old. It happened back in March. And we want to celebrate that in October with a Customer Appreciation Day. It's October 8th from 10 until 2. And we're just going to have a great time there at our main office on Central Parkway, just down the street from you here.
Right, neighbor.
We're going to have free hot dogs and drinks. We'll have
Pepsi.
Pepsi wagon out
Pepsi.
there. We'll have equipment displays where you can see some of the tools that we use to serve folks. We'll have safety demonstrations. We'll have employees and retirees there just to be able to meet them and see the people who have really built this system and who are now working to maintain it and keep it going.
Okay, or you can have the kids come, the kids from the schools to see the equipment.
Anyone is welcome.
Okay.
Anyone is welcome to come
teachers,
stop
here's
by.
a wonderful place to take the kids for a tour.
Great chance for a field trip to come out. And it's really neat to see some of the things that we use out there in the field every day.
Because we like when our electricity goes down, okay, you see them going to the breaker, what breaks? The breakers?
The breakers trip. And,
they trip.
Right, our transformers. There's lots of different pieces of the puzzle that we need to get power from the substation to the house.
Right.
But some of the things that our guys use, both on the electric side, the natural gas side, water and wastewater, we'll be showing some things from all those areas because we have 4 service areas.
Do you clean our water? Does DU clean the water?
We treat the water from the river. And then,
that's your responsibility.
Yes, we have a treatment plant. It's out on Market Street, right on the river, and we'll treat millions of gallons of water every day and then put those out into our distribution system to get them to your home where you can use it.
People don't complain about the water here. I mean, not like in many cities. Like many cities, I've lived in a lot of places, and the water, you'd have to get like a filter system and, to take some of the taste or the chlorine or something out of it. But this is very soft water.
We treat it in excess of the standards that are out there that they're required to. And, there are isolated instances if you have something with, something local to your home or business. But overall, we have a great quality of water. And
if something like that happens, if your water has a funny taste or something like that, call Decatur Utilities immediately.
Right.
Immediately. Because I think water is such a, that's a really delicate, because of heat and bacteria and just stuff, that can get into water.
Right. We take our water supply directly from the river, so you can imagine, it's a natural source.
Right.
So it goes through several stages of treatment before it's put into the distribution center. So.
And when you say the distribution, is there a big old thing that just sends it out through the city?
There are
many.
And we'll have to take you on a tour sometime. But there are pumps, huge pumps that pump that water out into our network of underground pipes.
Yeah.
And of course, we've got the water towers throughout the city. I think there's 10 water towers that we use that stay full, that are there for backup as well.
And
so
are
it's
they
very
being
intricate
fed?
system. It is all maintained under a set level of pressure.
Wow.
So, and we'll draw those tanks down if we need more water in a certain area. We can draw those tanks down temporarily, then fill them back up.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing, just, you just think, oh, I turn my faucet on and there's my water. I don't think anything about it.
You'll have to bring your camera and we'll go out and we'll actually tour the plant sometime.
Well, that would be great. I mean, you all would love that. I'd love that. I'd love to see how it works. But again, Appreciation Day, being 75 years and being a city-owned entity, okay? In other cities own their electric companies. Not very many, but I think CEI in Cleveland, unless it's gone by this time, but it had its own in-town electric company, but owned by the city.
That's correct.
And we forget that sometimes.
There are different setups, different types of corporations and different ways that they're owned. You have cooperatives like Joe Wheeler, which is a member-owned cooperative, and it actually serves cities within the county.
Correct.
Then you have investor-owned utilities like Alabama Power and some of the others who are investor-owned and still may serve a city, but they're not actually a government agency. And then you have Decatur Utilities, which is a quasi-government entity because we're owned by the city, but we operate autonomously, have our own board that's appointed by the city.
Right. But if something goes wrong in the long run, it's the city's responsibility.
The city does own the system.
Yeah.
Right,
owns the land or...
owns the actual utility itself.
Yeah. So if something got all messed up, all of the elected officials of Decatur would get involved.
We're not going to let it get messed up.
No,
so
but I mean, that's the scenario.
Sure, yes.
So this board under Mr. Hard...
Our general manager is Ray Harden.
Ray Harden is the man running this.
He's the general manager.
And how many employees over the years?
Well, we have 165 now.
Okay.
Over the years, that's gone up and down, but over in total, yes, probably well in excess of 1,000 that have worked at Decatur Utilities at some point. And we'll have several of those folks back for this day, some of the retirees.
That'd be so nice. I mean, since for 75 years, in the growth, I mean, new modern, the computers, everything that started way back then, I mean, 75 years, there had to be some kind of computer tracking thing. I mean, how did they know the electricity went out on 8th Street, I guess?
A lot of it, in the early days,
phone calls?
it was phone calls. Before that, I was telling on a radio interview the other day that I was going to the basement at Joe Wheeler several years ago when I was at Joe Wheeler, and I came across a postcard that said, "Dear Joe Wheeler, my power is out. Can you please send someone to fix it?" And so it was literally days and days before that customer would get there to get fixed. It was a different time. But today it's all computerized. In fact, we're implementing a brand new outage management system over the next few months that will even enhance our ability to see what's going on in the system, be able to respond to those outages even quicker.
Yeah, because when you're out, now, last time you were on, Joe, you said the boards light up, oh, that area just went out, or this went out. Or, maybe we were drilling somewhere and something went out, and you go, uh-oh, we hit something.
Funny you should mention that, Susie. Always call 811, since you mentioned drilling into lines.
Yes.
811 is the centralized line locate service for Alabama, and they will, if you call 811 48 hours before you plan to dig, that's commercial or residential, even if you're just going to put up a mailbox out at the road, call 811, and they will coordinate all the utilities to come out and mark the lines. Yep. So you can dig safely and not get into those underground lines.
Yeah, and it works, everybody. I mean, it is really, because we used it to plant some flowers on property that I own. And so we called, okay, and then it was done. I mean, it was, you were done. And within 48 hours, I went to it, and there's everything all lined up, and I knew exactly where to put the trees that I wasn't going to kill the lines,
Right.
because then it's my responsibility. I got to pay for that big old mistake I made.
Right. So October 8th, 10 to 2, everybody come out and join us at the main office here on Central Park. We're going to have a great time.
Okay, and then Joe's going to stay with us because he's going to give us some tips, some tips on saving energy for in the winter months. We learned how to save energy in the summer months, and now it's winter. What do we do? All right, we're going to take a break, and we're going to be right back with the interview that I was telling you about, this young, absolutely fabulous person who had a project and went out and did it. We'll be right back. Grand time here. Again, this is Joe Holmes. He is in charge of the communication and public relations for Decatur Utilities, and here on Central Parkway, and a neighbor. And I really appreciate that he's coming on and sharing information. October 8th is the Big Appreciation Day, celebrating 75 years of Decatur Utilities.
75 years.
Yeah. Okay, and you've been with them for about 6, 7...
3 months.
3 months, okay.
Not quite 75.
Okay. You've been here forever. And you're from Decatur, Alabama. Okay. But now we're going to talk about something that I think is real important, is your furnace goes. And you go, oh, my goodness, I don't have money. How am I going to fix my furnace? And it's going to get cold, or I need the air conditioning. There's ways that TVA helps? Or?
Right, TVA has programs in place, and you say furnace, but really heat pumps are the primary source of heating here in the valley. Some natural gas, obviously, but if you have an electric heat pump and you need to replace that, TVA does offer financing programs, and we're a partner with that.
And then it goes on your utility bill.
You can add it to the utility bill, and that way you're making the theory is that you're saving, by increasing your efficiency and replacing that unit, you're going to save a part of that amount that you'll be paying back. So you won't see as big a difference on your power bill because of the payment that's on there.
And that really is true. I mean, it was true in our case when we got the new furnace and everything. I mean, it really, you got to pay for the furnace, and over a certain period of time, it pays for itself later on.
Right.
Yeah. It's a return on an investment.
It is, and it's amazing how much difference that newer unit will make, especially if you have a unit that's 8, 10 years old, that's reaching the end of its life, and the efficiencies have improved so much over the years. It's a smart move.
Joe, that your furnace goes when it's like the worst day of the year. You just know that happens.
That's Murphy's Law.
That happens. Okay, so how do you find out about this? And we're sharing this with you today, so pass it on to your friends and neighbors that this is available. But how would you know? Would you call Decatur Utilities and say, oh, my furnace broke, I had the furnace man out here. Would your furnace man know it? Do I make the phone call to you to get the information? Do I call TVA?
There's a couple of ways you can do that. We have a quality contractor network, and these are contractors here locally that have gone through TVA certification process. So that's local companies that TVA has approved, basically, to be on their list. And so any of those folks are people you can get good service from them. You can trust them. Get competitive pricing.
How do I know that list?
That list is on our website. You just go to DecaturUtilities.com, and there's a list of those quality contractors on our website. So you can call those folks, and they'll come out and they'll look at your issue.
And they know how to do the program.
But yes, they do. But before that, we encourage people to have that unit checked out at least annually. Make sure it's serviced, make sure everything is working properly. And you can't ever predict, one's going to fail when it fails.
Right.
But you can certainly take some preventive maintenance precautions to keep it serviced and keep it operating as efficiently as possible. And too, they can notice if there's something going on that may lead to problems, pretty soon.
Well, I do that in the spring, and I do it in the fall. So I've already had my fall checkup.
Right. Okay. And the other thing to do is make sure you keep your filters changed out. If it's the basic filters, change them every 30 days in your house, in your system, because that keeps dust and things from getting into the system itself.
Right, and then it's a backup. You don't go months and years without changing. And then you look at it and you go, oh my goodness. Okay.
It's important.
But sometimes, I think there's times a year, like I put the filter in, and it's not even dirty, so that's really good. So maybe I'm getting lazy and not moving around or something.
And it's also going to depend on, different times of year, your unit's operating more than it does in other parts of the year. So just keep an eye on it. Make sure it's not getting covered with dust.
And what's the recommended temperature for winter? The recommended, of which we don't listen to. But
we recommend that 68 is where you set the thermostat.
In the winter.
When you're there day in and day out.
And then summer, like 70.
78.
78.
75 to 78.
So it's that swing.
It is a swing.
Okay, but when you think of, when you go into the grocery stores all year long and you go through the frozen food section. In the winter, in the summer, I'm frozen. I need a sweater. Do they change their temperatures in the grocery store? Or is it?
I have no idea.
But you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, because when you go into air conditioning, from outside it's 90 to 100, and you go into air conditioning, it could be 70, but you feel good. But it's 70 or 68 in the winter because your windows are chilly. Everything in the house is more chilly. The walls are chilly. That 68 is chilly. So wear a lot of sweaters.
68 is what we recommend for optimum efficiency.
And sticking to it.
It is personal preference. Some people can't take 68. So 70, 72.
Okay. Now, what about in electricity? In summer, you don't go and keep changing it. Go from here to here to here to here. Do you keep it and leave it alone, like lock it?
Leave it alone. If you're going to be in and out of the house, leave it at 68 or whatever your setting is that you're comfortable at. If you're going to leave for several days, cut it back. Now, in the winter, don't cut it off because obviously if we go into a very cold snap below freezing and you've got your system completely off, you can have issues with pipes freezing. But for the most part, leave it set unless you're going to be gone for an extended period of time.
Yeah, because I always thought if you shut it off, say you shut your air conditioning off and you leave and you go to work, and then you come home and you go, oh my God, then you put it on and it's just working to get to that temperature.
It is. In the winter months, if you're on a heat pump, for example,
it works.
And you run that thermostat up to try and heat the house up, it's going to call on your strip heat, which is your backup emergency heat, in case the heat pump part goes out. But if it's trying to overcome that temperature very quickly, it will call on your strip heat, and that's a very expensive way to heat.
Okay, our heat pumps have improved a lot, have they not?
Absolutely.
I think when I lived in Cleveland, I forget what time, which one of what time it was, we had heat pump. And I think that was probably the beginning because it was like this new thing, Oh, my goodness. Oh, when it went on blue light, I was just shaking because it cost a lot.
Now, you have heat pumps with electric backup. You also have heat pumps with natural gas backup.
Yes.
And you have electric air conditioners with natural gas furnaces. So there's a lot of different options out there for folks.
Right.
It really boils down to your personal preference and the way that you want to cool the house.
You purchase it, and then your payment financing comes through TVA or TVA, and then you pay TVA because they pay you and you pay them.
TVA has some folks in place that are underwriting that, and we're actually changing that program somewhat, and it's going to be basically the same. It's going to be called eScore here in the next month or so. So people can go to our website, and we'll have the latest information on that.
So everybody, don't be afraid, and please, don't be continuing with a furnace or something that may be in bad need of repair. Because we don't want anything to happen to you or your home. Don't talk to the great folks who see what this is all about.
And let me tell you just a little bit really quickly about eScore. That's going to be a program where evaluators will come out and they'll actually look at your house from ceiling to foundation, and they'll look at your insulation levels, your windows, doorways, weather stripping, the unit, and make some recommendations on what you can do to improve that over the course of time.
Is it free?
There's a fee, but then if you put those recommendations in place, then there's some rebates that help offset that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, look at all the information we got, and that's what this show's about, and this is what great people like Joe Holmes from Decatur Utilities here with us today sharing with it. So thank you so much. He's been all over town today. He's already been in Hartselle early this morning talking. Okay.
Talking about United Way.
Yeah, United
That's
Way.
right.
And DU is a big contributor to United Way, and we thank you. And we've had the United Way folks on. And
folks.
you'll show us next time you come on what you're doing and some of your things that your DU people have helped with.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Joe Holmes.
Have a great day.
All right, everybody, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Hometown.